We're talking Packers football with Lori Nickel of the Journal Sentinel here inside Lambeau Field. I love when two women get together to talk football. How cool is that?
Beautiful day, too. Exactly. It's great.
Yep, and in a construction zone, I might add, where you probably can hear some of the noises in the background.
Yeah. McCarthy stopped his press conference once. It was so loud in there. I mean, I've never heard it that loud. But
absolutely. So one of the topics that you were working on today, Lori, was Anthony Hargrove, and I wanted to ask you about that because he's obviously his suspension is still pending, and right now he's suspended for the first 7 games, correct? So
right now it's at 8, but
sorry.
it's possible that they could appeal that because there were some extenuating circumstances with his suspension. If he was just carrying out orders of the coaches, his lawyers could possibly argue that he was just following suit and he was doing what he was supposed to do. I think that the way the Packers are approaching this right now, he got a lot of work today, and he looks like he's getting a lot of work in OTAs. Might as well prepare him for anything, which means getting him ready for the first day if it's possible that he is ready. And as Mike McCarthy said today, just see what the lawyers come up with. They're waiting to see what happens just like the rest of us.
Yeah, not much that they can do at this particular point. So the Packers signed a new defensive end, Phillip Merling, and I saw you speaking with him as well. What did you learn about this guy?
Well, at the end of practice today, he got into it a little bit, saw a little fighting, which you hardly ever see in this day and age with football at this, especially not OTAs.
Right.
Usually that's the 3rd week of training camp, but he's an interesting prospect. He's out of Clemson, very high draft pick. He intercepted Brett Favre in 2008 and was best known for, I believe, a 25-yard touchdown return. He still has that ball. Played well his second year as well, but then in 2010 he hurt his Achilles, and so he was out except for the last 5 games of the season. And when he did come back, he told me, quiet down there, no, I'm just kidding. He told me that, his Achilles was okay, but he couldn't rush the quarterback, and so that kind of hampered the rest of his career. And then there were some issues with the Dolphins in that he showed up for some OTA stuff, or some off-season work, but not all of it. They parted ways. He said he had other options as a free agent to look at other teams, but he told me that he came to the Packers, canceled all his other visits, and is starting here. And he is really starting from scratch. He's in the back where, the tryout guys that they signed. Yeah, he's really got some work ahead of him, but it's an interesting prospect because, of course, they do need some reinforcements at the defensive line.
Sure. Mike McCarthy praised Devonte today and said that he looks like a different individual, and he's done a lot of work, it seems, this offseason. And what else have you found out about Devonte and his offseason?
Well, when I talked to Devon, he told me his dad works every day, so why shouldn't he? And I'm like, what does your dad do? His dad is in waste management in Los Angeles. So Devon's decided to go home for about 2 or 3 weeks. Then he came back here with maybe only a handful of guys like Balaga, Alex Green, and worked out constantly on the Green Bay facility. And when McCarthy singled him out that he's like a different young man, it's impressive. He really increased his lower body length strength, which will help him a lot. And McCarthy really feels confident about the young cornerbacks right now. They're going to need help there as well, so they're already excited about some of his potential.
Alex Green, since you just mentioned him as well, let's focus in on him a little bit, and coming back from an injury as well, and I think really looking forward to contributing and being a part of everything this year.
Yeah, and we were talking to him. That's a tough injury to come back from. He did a lot of pool work here, which you can't even run, you can't even walk on that, repaired surgery knee, but he worked in the pool extra and just started with walking there, then jogging to come back. He told me he hasn't even done a full-out sprint yet. That's the big test from an injury like that, is to see if you can test it, and there's no need to test it until training camp. He expects that he'll be back in time for training camp, at least that's the goal. Right now, it's another guy, just all strength. And in fact, Devon said, if you think I'm strong, Alex Green is in a whole other level. So he's already getting some locker room respect for his off-season work, which is about all you can control when you're coming back from an injury.
That's true. Another guy, not coming off an injury, but another guy who seemed to have a pretty strong offseason was Harrell. And I think that's evident on the field, and then also Mike McCarthy also spoke about him.
Yeah, and his arm strength, but also I was watching his accuracy. There's a point during practice where all the other players go to one side and the 3 quarterbacks throw into the nets that are different than like the basketball nets, but the regular, you see it like in the Pro Bowl shooting or whatever, and he was pretty accurate. He hit it a couple of times, and you know, that's going to be a key in this offense. That's always the key. We're so used to Aaron Rodgers being very accurate. Doesn't turn it over, doesn't throw interceptions, throws in tight windows, can hit Randall Cobb, who's this big, as opposed to Jermichael Finley, who's a foot taller. So Graham Harrell, that's the thing that he needs to work on or improve the most, is that the accuracy is there with the arm strength.
Lori Nickel from the Journal Sentinel. We always appreciate your comments. Be careful walking through that tunnel. Put a hard hat on. Thank you very much.
Thanks.